All right, good evening, everyone. Thank God the weather finally came our way, right? This heat wave. Welcome, everyone, to the July 2025 Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for the town of Carmel.
June.
Sorry, June. I'm trying to rush it. Here we go. Board members' names are in front of you on the dais with Mike Carnazza, who's our code enforcement officer and building inspector, and Greg Fulchetti, who's our town council, with us this evening. The way we operate is I'll ask you to come up. I'll swear you in, at which time you present your case. We'll poll the board for any questions or comments, and then we'll open it up to the public for any comments or questions. When we close the hearing, there's no further input, so please keep that in mind. And if you do come to speak on behalf or to adjudicate or decide on a case or comment on a case, please make sure you sign your name, phone number, and address on the dais piece of paper. Will you all please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Our first case tonight is Centennial. They've requested a holdover, so if anybody's here to listen to that case, we're going to hold that over. I'll look for a motion for that.
Motion to hold over?
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so looks like nobody's here anyway. All right, and actually, our second case, I don't know, a little out of order here, what happened?
AFC urgent care.
AFC urgent care.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it?
Looking at these, I can put them back in. All right, so AFC Urgent Care, we just found out that their case is going to be dismissed without prejudice because it was grandfathered before the new code was enacted. So with that said, I'm going to look for a motion to dismiss this case without prejudice.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And if you're here for that case, we will not be hearing it. Okay, application number 3 for Tasha Coleman for variation of section 156-19, seeking a variance to retain a fence 6 feet front yard. The property is located at 223 Toplin Road, Mahopac, and is tax map 74.26-1-10. Are you here? Oh, come on up. Please state your, I'm going to ask everyone to please speak clearly and distinctly into the microphone. This is being recorded for minutes. So, our secretary does the minutes from this recording. So, good evening. Can you just state your name and address for the record?
Sure. Tasha Coleman, 223 Topham Road.
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, bring us through your case, Tasha. What's the situation here?
I live on a corner lot, so the 6-foot fence that has always been at the house, I guess there were issues in the neighborhood, so my side fence that was part of my backyard I found out is now part of, because I have a corner lot, they're both considered the front lawn. We have the backyard, for, the privacy fence. We have the little one.
Yep.
Well, she's not little, but here now. And, we're just trying to keep our house.
All right, so the fence was built in place before you bought the property?
Not the exact fence because we upgraded it, but yes, there was always something.
But was it the same height? That's the difference.
It's been the same height for at least 15 years because we've been in the house 17 years and we updated it like 2 years after.
So what I'm saying is, was the fence the same height at the same locations
Yes.
for that whole time?
Yes.
So you just replaced it with the same existing
Yeah, but even
height?
with replacing it, it was before COVID. It's not recent. It's just something happened with another neighbor, so all the neighbors in the neighborhood are now having an issue with their 6-foot.
Like your mic's
All right,
not
hold on a
hot, I
second.
guess.
Yeah, the mic's not on.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that. Sorry, Vin.
I
Okay.
thought, sorry about that.
There we go.
Okay.
Now we can hear you.
Okay, good.
No, I think you were loud enough that it could be picked up, but,
Okay.
all right, I mean, you have a corner lot, we get that, so
Yes.
you're restricted to more rules than most. But, so you're saying there's issues in the neighborhood that there's concern, like security issues?
No. So someone put a 6-foot fence in their their actual front lawn, and I guess there was an issue with that. So there became an issue with everyone in the neighborhood who had a 6-foot fence, whether it was a corner property. We weren't the only ones. But, so I'm here to get a variance because our fence isn't new. It's been there, and now it's an issue.
Okay, well, I mean, it got picked up by Dennis probably, right?
Correct.
Doing a property search.
No, it was a complaint about another fence. He went out to that fence, and while he was there, he did the whole neighborhood.
Yeah. So that's why this is coming up.
Otherwise, you get, well, what about their fence? What about their fence? And that's,
Yeah.
Right, so then
So on and so on.
off to the
Like
races.
a can
we
of
went.
worms. Yeah, so,
It's not really on the corner, though, it's all the way in.
Yeah.
It's all the way in,
Yeah,
yeah.
as opposed
it's
to
in the-
rail
so
also.
the front of your house is really facing Toplin Road,
Correct.
correct?
Yeah.
And
The
Maple
corner's
Road
on the other
happens to be
side.
On the back end of it. But is there any reason why, I mean, typically it's usually in line with the house, that code calls it to be 4 feet. Is there any reason why it cannot be lowered to 4 feet?
Or
What-
move back.
In line with the house, right? Because you can have a 6-foot fence if it carried the front or that side of the house. If it carried along that line, you'd be okay with 6 feet.
It's been there all the time, right? So we've been trying to get estimates, my husband and I. We can't afford to make the
All right,
fence
so
moved
what
at
kind of
this
cost
point.
is involved here?
$2,000
$2,000 to
Yeah.
move it back or to lower it?
to lower it.
Yeah.
And so I'm sure if they have to dig it up and move it, it's gonna be even more, I would think.
No, they could probably use the same post, you just have to cut down the panels to
So-
meet the code.
Aside from the fact that it's been there all the time, so our main safety concern is we have a sex offender in the neighborhood. I don't want my child in the backyard and feeling unsafe because with a 4-foot fence, you can walk down the street and look at the other little girl comes from across the street, they play in the yard. I want to make sure that we're providing a safe environment for our child and any children in the neighborhood that come and play in our yard as well.
We're caught in a tough position because this, like, it's Pandora's box, right? If we allow this completely, then the next guy can do it, and the next person could do it, and the other neighbor could do it, right? My only caveat to that is that because you are a corner lot and the main part of your house is facing Toplin, that's the only way I would see around it. But, you know, we're gonna poll the board members and see what they think.
Okay, and I don't know if it matters, but I did get some letters from my neighbors.
It totally matters, absolutely.
Absolutely matters.
That does, it's
Here's
a big
here's the
deal.
resident note reader.
So it's all basically the same form letter, but it's also aware of the fence and has no objections. So John and Catherine Ventura, 327 Oak Road. Anthony Sherb, 238 Maple. And Shirley and Francisco Herrera, 242 Maple. So where are those neighbors?
So Kathy is actually on the next corner, but the Anthony and Shirley and Francis, they're actually facing the 6-foot fence. Their house is.
They're directly across the
They're
street.
directly across the street. And Shirley and Francis, their kids come and play in our yard, so of course, they're happy with the safety that we're providing.
Gotcha.
And that's primarily your yard, right, is the side, that's the whole yard?
Yes.
On that side.
Now, how many years between the old fence and the new fence has there been a 6-foot fence?
15 years, that's what I'm saying, it's been.
So this fence is how old? This is 15 or no?
Okay, no, yeah. My oldest son is 32, and we got the fence when he was here in high school. It's been there for a very long time. The exact year at this point, I couldn't tell you because it has been there so long.
So it was there when you bought the house at that same height, or was it not? You
No.
put it in?
No, so, I don't know if we own the house 18 years, maybe 17 or 18 years, but 2 years after we got the house.
All right, so the bottom line is you didn't know the code back then, you didn't know the rules until you...
There was, so what was there was a chicken wire fence that was higher than the 4 feet, but probably not 6 feet, and hedges in addition to the chicken wire fence on the inside of the chicken wire fence. That didn't look nice. And so we
All right,
upgraded.
Claudine, have any comments or questions?
Oh, I asked my question.
John?
I already asked my question.
Oh, okay.
You good?
You've been there for quite a while.
Yes.
Did you ever have an incident? Have you had any accidents over there?
No,
Vehicle accidents pulling out?
No.
Pulling in?
no,
Anybody? Neighbors, friends?
no. And so my front yard actually has where people turn up the hill. I have nothing. So there's nothing that's prohibiting the line of sight at all. Our whole front yard is grass. So there's
John,
nothing.
essentially, it's like their backyard, but unfortunately, the
That's
Maple
just-
Street
yeah.
comes down.
Yeah, it's a good
for their
picture there.
purpose, So
It-
they're held
it
to
speaks-
different
speaks
set of
volumes, so-
parameters.
You can see it. I don't have any further questions. Thank you, John.
My only observation is, if she was one lot in, she's not even in front of us now. I understand where we're going with this, but I think this is unique. It's a corner lot. I don't.
It's
and the
judged on
fence-
its own merits.
Yeah, and the fence looks good, so I'm not overly concerned.
All right, Joe?
No questions.
And the neighbor to the right of the fence, your next door neighbor, do they have issues?
On Maple.
No, she actually meant to send a letter too, but mother passed away. She needed to get away and just didn't get the letter to us in time. So there's no issue there.
Okay. Okay. All right, at this point, I'm going to open it up to the public. Anybody wish to be heard on this application? All right, I'll look for a motion to close the public hearing.
Motion to close.
All right, seconded by Julio, all in favor? Aye. Okay, thank you. I failed to mention, everyone, you can sit around and wait for us to adjudicate at the end of the meeting for your decision, or you can reach out to Dawn or Mike tomorrow at the building department and find out what the prognosis was. All right, thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good night, everyone.
You as well.
Thank you, you too.
Did you sign that?
No, you don't
No,
need
you don't
to.
have to sign because you're on the agenda.
That's only for anybody in the public
Yeah,
that
you know,
wishes
you're good,
to
you're
speak.
good.
Good night.
All right, good night. All right, application number 4, DNI Properties for an interpretation of getting a permit for used cars. The property is located at 559 Route 6N, Mahopac, and is tax map 75.6-167. Good evening.
Hello.
You can point that up to your mouth. so-
Or you could use the other one because now it's working. This is good.
All right, that one's taller.
I am Daniel Ivez, owner of the property 559 Route 6 North, Red Mills.
Okay, raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Okay, bring us through your situation. You can't sell used cars there now currently, right? But there's a shop or something? Is that your shop?
Okay, so when you mentioned the grandfather Dean, I owned the property about 10 years. The zoning was allowed for retail used cars. And now you guys changed the law, right, in March? So the purpose, I built a garage, 2,000 square feet, brand new garage in the back.
So Mike, this particular changed in
Yeah,
In
this,
the
it
new
used to
code?
be commercial, C commercial, and that allowed, I kind of need to,
Gotta zoom that in there, Mike.
fully enclosed municipal existing, auto sales and showrooms establishments, but not including auto body repair shops,
right.
were permitted in that zone. Dan came into the office, or Mr., I can't pronounce your last name, Dan's easier.
Yeah, yes, yes.
Dan came into the office back in, I think it was January or December. We were talking about the whole thing. He actually made application, never went through, and then they changed the code, and that's why he's here. I know it's a weird one because he was actually submitted paperwork, never gave me the exact details, so we were trying to work it all out.
Okay. So is there like a certain quantity of cars, Mike, that are allowed for that certain quantity? Allowed for that?
Okay, can I explain that?
Yeah, please.
Okay, basically, I explained to you, I have a brand-new building in the back, 2,000 square feet, 25 by 80. I store my cars in the building there, meaning I'm looking just 1 or 2 cars in the front, as a sign of used car dealer.
All right, I was there the other night, I saw about 4 cars there with no license plates on them. So is it 4, or is it 6, or is it
Well,
10? What's
might
it?
be 3, not 10. No, I don't use the space for the tenants. I have tenants that need the parking
Yeah, that's
space.
what it looks like, it's all tenants upstairs, right?
No, in the front. I have the stores in the front.
Given all of the other stores and people upstairs, how many can he afford to put in there?
Is the question in the front?
No,
No,
you're saying what,
You're talking about the rear of the property, behind the building, right? That's where you're gonna store the cars?
That's where I store my cars in the garage, but like I said, I'm looking in the front, like 1 or 2 cars to have.
Oh, in the front of the buildings,
Yes.
right? Well, aren't you taking away from the parking capacity for your own tenants? You own the whole building, right?
Right.
So you'd be taking away parking capacity for your tenants, such as the pizza place, the nail place, the social club, yada, yada.
Right, but I'm just taking 1 or 2 spots.
Do you have an office?
Of course I do.
Where is the
In
office?
the garage.
Oh, in the garage?
Yes.
In the
All
back.
right, so if we condition it to only allow 2
That's
cars,
fine. No, I'm not looking more than that.
2 cars up
I mean,
here?
I can park a car there with a dealer plate and, for example. But
Yeah,
I'm
no,
just
I-
looking to have a sign
I got you.
for a car there because I'm parked in the back and my building is in the back.
Hold on a second. What's the parking capacity
Yeah.
for the amount of
This
tenants
is,
that are there?
this is not a complete site plan, so the parking calculation chopped off it, so I don't have the information. I can't guess at it right here.
But this is also not a variance, it's an interpretation, correct?
Yeah, he's trying to see if he's allowed to do that use here, because it was allowed. He came to me, and then.
Gotcha, that's
code
why it
changed,
shows
and
the
I don't know,
Yeah, I didn't know why it wasn't,
he's allowed to do the cars if he does them in the back out of the enclosed building.
oh, okay.
You're allowed. It's just that now he wants to put 2 cars up here. I just want to make sure it's, run it by the board, make sure everybody's happy with it, because it's, that's why I said if you do 2 or 3, and everybody's happy with that, I mean, if his tenants aren't happy, they're going to call me up, and then we're going to have a,
That's what I'm concerned about. I'm trying to help you help yourself, you know what I'm saying? Your
I
tenant's gonna be
understand. I'm
upset.
the landlord. I make sure everything works out for my tenants because they pay rent. And I
Right.
won't use, let's say, the space for their usage of the business.
All right,
So
so
I'm looking just 1 or 2.
2 cars?
2 cars, no
2
more than
cars
that.
is good?
2 cars is fine.
It's bastante.
Greg, can you condition an interpretation?
That's what I thought.
A variance, okay, or whatever, you can't condition an interpretation. You can limit it to a scope of review, okay, but you can't condition it on some number of vehicles or anything like that.
can I make a suggestion?
Absolutely.
And you tell me if it's no good. If you're going to make the interpretation that way, with the condition, with the understanding that they would only be parking 3 vehicles or 2, whatever your number is, in front of the building. Because he can park unlimited vehicles inside the building. You're allowed.
Yeah.
It's permitted.
Right.
So that's how you would word it if you felt, so you can't say condition with the understanding or with the, provided he only does this, right?
Yeah. Proviso.
Parking of 3 vehicles on the exterior in this zone.
Would be permitted, correct. In conjunction with the used car dealership.
With the understanding?
With
How do you want the verbiage?
Provision.
Provision?
Provision.
interpretation that the parking of up to 3 or 2 or 5, whatever your numbers are.
We say 2,
whatever
he
they
said
say,
2.
He
We're
said
gonna
2,
keep
we'll
it at
take
2.
Yeah, that's fine, that's up to you guys. In that zone is, in conjunction with the used car sales is permitted, done. If you feel so inclined to say that.
But,
Well, let me open it up to the board, right? That's all you have to present?
Yeah, that's it.
but, just hold on, I got a question for them. Would that then, because we've interpreted it that way, does that mean then every used car? I know every case sort of stands on its own, but because this is an interpretation,
That zone.
that zone. Interesting, okay.
Is it just parking the car, or are you gonna have like the hoods open and like spray paint on the front and,
Well, he will
you
not
know,
know.
like when you drive by Meadowland or something?
No, I'm not having hoods open. I'm just gonna have maybe a sign for sale on the window, but nothing else.
If he puts the sale.
Not putting
he's only
flags
got
or
two
something
vehicles.
like that.
You can write SA, you know, I mean, that's the thing. They write for sale or whatever, you know, vehicles like that on.
I also have a limousine
I
in
mean,
the front.
I guess I just am questioning if that's the advertising mode, it's not really gonna be conducive to your dealership. It's just gonna be two random cars with a for sale sign versus,
That's all he's looking to do.
So,
Two cars?
so then I have to put a sign, a dealer there, or, I mean, I
No,
can,
no.
okay,
no need for that.
You don't have to
just-
put a sign there.
that's fine.
Right, he's allowed to put signs in the car for sale.
Inside the car, yeah.
Yeah, there's nothing in the code that stops that.
You can have signs if they're painted on the car, but you can't just stick signs on cars. That's a sign if it's parked.
Okay.
So if it's painted on the car, then it's interstate commerce law, I believe, right? But otherwise, it's a town of Carmel sign.
Okay.
Right, and obviously
You
you need the
understand that?
sticker in the car, and if you see that, then you know it's for sale type. Yep, yep, yep.
Inside the on the dashboard is.
Yes, yes, side window.
How long have you been doing the cars out there?
Cars about 10 years.
10 years?
I like cars. It's like a hobby.
It's a good hobby.
All right. Claudine, you got anything?
No questions.
I
Good,
have
Rose?
no questions.
All right, anybody in the public wish to be heard on this application? I'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Second? Julie, all in favor? All
Aye.
right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, you got that?
I don't think.
All right, we'll get through it. All right, application number 5 for James and Angela Hollywood. All right, I see Joel's here. For variation of section 156-9, seeking variance for permission to build a 4-car garage. Property is located at 145 Myrtle Avenue, Mahopac. It's tax map 75.10-1-11. So the code requires or allows side yard of 20 feet, 156, and then what's provided will be 10 feet, so a variance of 10 feet will be needed or being sought. Good
Correct.
evening, sir.
Good evening, how are you?
Long time no talk. Glad you made it. State your name and address for the record, please.
Just made it. Joel Greenberg, 2 Musket Road, North Mahopac, New York. This is my associate, Matthew Cropsey, all from my office.
State your name and address, please.
Hi, my name is Matthew Cropsey, and I live at 72 Hamlin Road.
Welcome, Matt. You guys raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
All right, thank you. Bring us through the case.
Okay, basically, as you can,
You want me to hold the word?
Matt, you can pull that one off, too, if you're going to be speaking.
Okay.
all right, so basically, I don't know, maybe you might remember this from years and years ago, but there used to be a railroad going through this section of Mahopac
That
Falls.
was before my time.
Oh, then you're only 29? Anyway, so the shape of this lot is rather unusual to begin with. The house is over here, and we're able to maintain the 40-foot front yard. And what happens now, unfortunately, the well is right over here, and there's a pool and a deck in the back. So really, the only place, and the driveway comes right up through here. So the only place you could put the garage would be over here. You can't move it any further or any closer because the well cap is in the way. The good thing about this, and if you've been to the property, there's a hill over here along the side of the property. And then the neighbor who just bought this house recently has a fence, one of the vinyl fences right along the entire property line. So this is basically screened off. And again, this fence is probably about 7 or 8 feet higher than this property. So basically, this is well screened off. The neighbors have been contacted, or the immediate neighbors, and nobody had any objection to it. So basically, again, the driveway comes this way, cars come in this way to avoid the well, and this is a good area. They have obviously some children, and the area here, this is a play area for the pool and for the deck. That's about it.
All right, I saw it the other night, the neighbor's house on that side is set way
Way,
back. so
yes.
it wouldn't come
That
in.
house is probably somewhere over here. That's
It doesn't
correct.
affect any views, I don't think, of them coming
Oh, no,
out. It's really just, their driveway is really long, and there's like kind of a mountain to the left side, and the house is set back behind.
The house, yes, their driveway comes up this way, and the house is way back over here, actually behind,
You
even
know, I didn't
past
know
the pool.
that there's no existing garage to the house, right? It's
No.
a farmhouse style?
Yes, it's
All right,
an
so-
old farmhouse that probably dates back to the early 1900s.
What's the reason for a four-car garage, though?
Well, because they have 4 cars.
Okay. Is there going to be a covered walkway going back to the house? I don't think so.
There'll be a nice walkway with roof and walls, no, nothing,
yeah, right.
nothing. They'll walk in the snow and the rain.
I'm sure there's going to be some questions to that fact, though, about the size of it, but,
Again, as you can see, it's a very large piece of property, and the important thing to understand as far as the zoning board is that we're able to maintain the 40-foot yard setback, so
Yeah, for the
it's,
front.
it's not near the road, and as you said, this is way up over here, their driveway and their house is way back over here, so it really affects nobody.
okay, no plumbing?
No,
Upstairs is going to be a playroom only? Is there going to be any
That's it.
heat?
Nothing
Heat
else.
or anything, or heat?
Oh, heat?
Yeah,
Probably, yeah.
okay. There'll be electricity, obviously, for garage
Yes.
doors and power.
That's
And
it.
that's just a playroom, not like a workshop or anything up there?
No, absolutely not.
All right, there's no property you can buy to bring this into conformance, right?
No, as I said here, if you've been to the property, right behind where the garage is going to go, there's a steep incline, and then, as you can see, this line over here, the new neighbor actually put this white fence, vinyl fence, all along the property line.
Yeah.
So, and as you said too, this house is way back over here, and the next house is actually way down over here, so the garage will not affect anyone's view or any of the 2 adjacent houses.
Okay.
Why is there a
let's-
kitchen table shown on the second floor?
What's that?
A kitchen table shown on the second floor. And a couch.
Yeah.
I think that's a poker table, to be honest with you, Mike.
Oh, no, that's not a kitchen table,
All right, poker table.
poker table. Well, it's a playroom.
Or an office?
No. No.
With
he
no
doesn't.
bathroom.
What's that?
No bathroom.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
So, what is the utility of the second floor? Because, I mean, it says rec room, but the footprint of the house is 1,600 square feet for the first floor, maybe a little less for the second floor because of the dormers, but.
Exactly, as you can see.
That's still a huge area for,
Well, they're allowed to do it, Will. I mean,
I'm just
as
asking
long
what
as there's
the
no
use of
plumbing,
it
and
is.
Mike will
Basically,
inspect
I
it
mean,
when the
you
time
have,
comes.
you can have
But-
recreation, I mean,
But
indoor
you-
recreation.
You can reduce the square footage so that you wouldn't even need a variance if you take it off the back, pull it away from the back.
As I mentioned before, if we maintain the front yard of 40 feet and you move this thing closer, it would be very difficult because this circle here represents the well, and we wanted to keep it back so a car can come in here without.
Joel, I think she's talking about the footprint of the first floor.
I'd say-
Where the cars are shown, it looks like you could almost stack 2 cars behind one another.
No, no,
So
no, that's,
The 30-foot depth, I believe, is what you're referring to, right?
Typical garage is
You can
24.
cut that back.
Typical
You're
garage,
talking
24.
about
So that's 6
the
feet.
size of 1.5 raised ranches. That's a huge building.
yeah, well, they have the cars, and I think obviously he wants to have a workbench, I mean,
That's some workbench.
so, well,
It's a
You-
raised ranch.
Our job is to grant variances, and if there's an other way for you to do a project without needing a variance, that's our job.
understood
And you can
completely.
certainly do this project without needing a variance by cutting back the entire back of that building.
No, I mean, reduce the size of the building?
Yeah, all along that back there. See, you have the 4 cars parked, and then there's a bunch of vacant space. Why?
Well,
If you cut all that back, you wouldn't have any need.
You're saying,
For the
you're
variance.
saying to go over here to 20 feet. for the
Well,
car
at
to
least it's
fit in there.
down to like 4 feet.
Yeah,
So you're
minimize the amount of the variance required.
You're right.
Take 5 feet out of it.
Does it go to,
Mike, would you say a typical garage depth is 24 feet? So
That's
we'll give you
6
20,
feet.
25.
comfortable.
For variance, you're right.
25, you know, give you a foot for
But
friendship
12
here.
by 24 is average, so if it's 24 by 24, it's a two-car garage.
Right.
Yeah, this
You
is
wouldn't want a 12 by
excessive.
24, though, it's not that comfortable for opening doors.
So what you're saying is to reduce this instead of 30 feet, 24, so we
Or chop out
reduce the variance by 6 feet.
Yeah.
or chop out some of the stair space and shrink it this way. I think that's what you were saying, too.
Well, you have to do the back because.
The
that's
variance
where
is
the
towards the
variance
back?
is.
If you shrink it this
Okay,
way, you can pull it away because it won't affect the well.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but if you shrink it, then you can't get the 4 cars.
Yes, you can.
Joel, I got 5
You got
cars, and
16
then tell
feet
me it's a
between
2-car
cars.
garage.
Yeah,
What's that?
You got almost
You got 52
16,
feet
32,
in
you got
front.
52 feet minus
52 feet.
32. You got 20 feet of no cars with staircase in it.
Yeah, you got more than that.
yeah.
You got 20 feet of no car space.
Where, excuse me, what are you talking about?
Looking at your layout, put it right back up, Joel. It says proposed new garage, like the wording right there.
Yeah?
In
That's
front,
all, you
Dead
know,
space.
dead space.
in front of the cars.
You
That
know,
whole
between the
section.
cars.
Which could be used as a workshop, and you cut the back whole wall back to 25 feet, we'll give you.
Yeah.
Right,
Oh,
25
no,
feet?
I
This is
agree
your
with
workshop.
that. So what you're saying is we'll pull the stairs down and cut off 5 feet off the building. Instead of 30 feet, make it 25 feet, which would reduce the
Oh,
variance. to-
24, but okay.
24 feet.
Well, if he wants to put shelving or something, that's why I'm saying a foot, give him a foot there for,
Oh, you're gonna give him
You make
25,
it
okay.
20,
Okay.
25 feet.
Okay,
You
so
got
that-
larger vehicles, if
so
you
that
got an
reduces the
SUV.
variance to 5 feet.
5 feet.
Yep.
That's acceptable. Sure.
Okay. Everybody on the board kind of agree with that?
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair
Before I
compromise.
find the
So,
application?
what does that translate into square footage of the existing building? If you cut that back by 5 feet, how does that, it
Yeah,
becomes,
the mathematician's right next to you.
is that what it is,
In
25
other
by
words-
52?
Off the
Brings you
back.
down to
Off the back.
25.
Yeah, so it's 25 by
300
52 is
feet.
2,510
1,300.
feet.
It's still bigger than a
Times
raised
2.
ranch.
1,300. Just about.
Huge.
It's huge.
You know,
I would say even take, why is that staircase even so wide? Why can't we smush it in a little bit more there?
Because you can take furniture and stuff upstairs for a playroom. I mean, it's not a postage stamp piece of property. It's
Speak into the
a
mic,
fairly
Joe.
large piece of property,
But
and
then
I
make
don't
it
think it's
comply.
gonna affect anybody. It's way down below the neighbor upstairs, and we're willing to cut it back to 25 feet. I mean, why not give them something that they would like? We're willing to compromise, and I'll take off the 5 feet, so the variance is down to only 5 feet.
I just have a hard time with garages that are bigger than main houses.
Well, this garage
The
is not bigger.
footprint,
This garage is not bigger than
Well,
ours.
Rose, it's an allowed use, as long as there's no plumbing or water, it can't become an apartment. You know, if someone wants to
course
spend
not.
their money for recreation, that's understandable. But definitely you can work it back this way a little
No,
bit.
the 5 feet,
2,400
absolutely,
square
no problem.
If he was
The
set
house
back, we'd have no
that's
say in it at all.
Yes.
Okay.
Exactly.
So that's 1,300 feet. It's half.
1,300, is that for the one floor, or is that for two
Yes,
floors?
it's one floor.
So it's 2,600.
We're okay.
No, it's not, the
Not quite,
dormers.
because it's a little different.
The upstairs is
Going
not the same as the downstairs.
down. Yeah, you have to cut out that section. It's a little less.
Mike, quick question, is the front, is this the original, or is the original on the inside? Because there's 2 copies.
Should have blue.
A blue stamp on it?
I usually sign, yeah, that's the original.
Okay.
Did I sign in blue? I usually try to do it. Oh, but he makes his yeah, you can't go by that. Joel makes the copies and then,
So which one's the original?
the one in the file.
Oh, one on the front, okay.
I'm on the front.
So Joel, we're gonna change this to what's provided as 15 feet, and you'll need a variance of 5 feet.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes,
Because the back is the side yard, right? It's the side.
Side yard.
it's a side yard, yes.
Yeah, it's a side yard.
Again, as you can see from this probably
That looks good.
before all our time, because we're very young, that was a railroad bed at one time.
Is that where the turntable was? Because I know there was a turntable up in Myrtle.
I don't know, Mike, do you happen to remember exactly where the railroad went through on Mahopac Falls?
I don't.
No. But
It
from what,
paralleled that Potter Road. Remember, it was kind of, Willie came in with that lot that ran along.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right,
How
that's
it goes
right.
down.
That was the
Scott
railroad
Road.
bed, but I don't remember the exact location.
Right.
Just curious.
All right, Joel, so we're gonna change that, so I need you to just initial it. I initialed it, you should initial it.
Sure.
Right under mine.
Next to yours.
Yeah. Oh, I should have asked for input from the public at this point. Anybody have anything in the public? Any comments? Questions? Okay. All right, I think we're good. We'll look for a motion to close the hearing.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Name, I think, of Lucille Ball. And what's the name when they were going up to Hollywood? What? Yeah. Remember it was like the whole.
All right, last case today is application of Joan Acker for variation of section 156-19A1A, seeking a variance to install a fence on vacant property. The property is located at 35 Munich Road, Carmel, and it's tax map 77.13-2-30. The code requires or allows a fence as accessory to principal 4 and 6 feet. In a vacant lot, no principal structure is provided, so variance required is to allow a fence on a vacant lot, 6 feet and 4 feet. Good evening.
Hi,
State your name and address for the record.
Joan Acker, 31 Munich Road.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Okay, tell us why there's an empty lot and why we're looking to fence it off.
With such a high fence.
Inquiring minds want to know.
Oh, it's adjacent to my property, and it was my mom's before me. It was my family home. And in the past, my mother was harassed multiple times from a neighbor coming over to her house and making lowball offers for the property until she passed away. Also,
Sorry, so the
neighbor,
existing house is the structure to the
one.
left side? Or
well, as you're looking at it to the right.
Okay.
From the road, it's on the right.
Yeah.
The yellow house.
Yes. There were false statements made by my neighbor on police reports, the neighbor who lives behind these woods. While I was standing 10 feet away on the woods property, the neighbor called the police saying I was assaulting him, and his wife was yelling in the background, "Get away from him," and I was nowhere near him, and I have a witness who can attest to that.
Okay, that's not for this board. We're just here wondering
Well,
why.
the
Okay.
issue is the problems. I just want to put up a fence and have everybody just leave it alone. And then on the other side, a culvert was installed on my property. And when I questioned the person who lived there, they said the town did it. And I went and I asked Mike, and he said he knows nothing about the town doing anything like that. My house has been broken into while we were at work. I've had a bunch of repeated vandalized. I have a list of things that were vandalized. I don't know if you don't feel that's
No, that's fine.
for the board to
You
hear, or
presented
should I
it.
read
I
it
just
out?
thought you were heading towards like a legal issue between neighbors, which it sounds like that's part of it, but go ahead, continue.
Yeah, it is part, but I arrived home from church on a Sunday in the spring. I had a little greenhouse, and all the seedlings, the pots, and items inside the greenhouse were smashed and destroyed. And then I went out and bought new plants and planted my whole garden, and just prior to the harvest, I woke up to all the plants crushed and pulled out by the roots. I have metal yard decor in my backyard, which was pulled down and bent up. In March of 2025, I arrived home after spending a few days away with my family to find logs stacked all over the back of my property. I paid for a survey to be done, and the markers were removed. I had trees on my property cut down, my land was cleared, wheelbarrows full of refuse were dumped on my property, despite sending a cease and desist letter by certified mail. I purchased new fruit trees to replace the ones that were cut down. The neighbors proceeded to rip them out of the ground and destroy them, saying it was their property, despite me having a survey showing that it was clearly my property. I tried to explain to them that the marker they were looking at was to show the dividing line between the two pieces of property, my house property and the property with the woods, the vacant one.
And you called the police on any of these issues
Yes, I have.
and filed reports and?
They said it's a civil matter. And then also during that time with the fruit trees, I videotaped the whole thing. I sent it in late, so I don't know if you got to see it. But the neighbor threatened to come onto my property at night. And I said, you know, this is where I draw the line.
All right, just a personal suggestion. Do you have Ring cameras that you can
I
mount?
put up a camera after that.
Okay. You know, because
But the
right
damage
there's,
is- you know what I
right there's
mean?
the proof to the police department if it comes down to it. But, you know, again, that's not our issue, and we can understand the reason why. Is this a buildable lot?
Yes.
Okay. So, I mean, if we okayed this thing, you're talking about a 10-foot fence, which is way out of whack, but typically, the code calls for a 4-foot fence at the front of the property to the line of the house.
I'm not
And
putting anything in front of the
You
front
could
of the
go 6
property.
feet.
This
I
is
know,
only
but
the
there-
side and the back.
I meant the front.
For a house.
Of the, well, the property piece.
Property
but
line.
To
And
the
the
front of the
problem
house
is in the front.
has to be at 4 feet.
The problem is there's no house, so there is no front or backyard.
I know,
That's-
so
And I'm
this
not
is-
putting
that's
anything
why
in
the
the
whole
front.
thing's
just-
I'm not
Unique
putting
case.
anything in the front. It's just the side and the back.
Oh, okay.
So you're putting on the back of the house as well?
No, just the side where the woods
the
are
back of the
and then
lot.
the back.
Just the back of the lot on,
Just the back
right,
and the
but not
side.
on your house lot, which is where all the
No.
vandalism is.
Well, I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but I was told don't require a variance for my house lot because there's a house on
Right,
it.
I was just going to ask that. If it was
Oh,
merged, she merged them together, it would be, right?
Provided
Point?
it's a 6-foot fence.
Provided it's only
not a
6 feet
10-foot
tall.
fence.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know what I'll do in the future with that, but for now, I'm starting with this. There's a financial issue too because this is going to cost a lot.
Are you okay with
concerned they're not
6?
going to vandalize the fence?
I don't know.
They probably will. Are you okay with a 6-foot fence? Because at least that's.
No, because currently I'm working in my garden and there's people standing there staring at me like there's no,
So your garden is on this lot?
no, it's on the next lot over.
It's on the other side of the stone wall?
I would just like to have something where people couldn't see over a person, normal person 6 feet tall, over
Right.
that. Then, so you couldn't see over
What
it.
about 8 feet
Or
tall?
7
Okay.
feet.
That's not a normal-
yeah.
That's not a normal,
The problem I have
Look,
with this
if
is,
there's a will, there's a way. It could be a 12-foot fence. Someone's gonna get over it if they wanna get over it. But it's a deterrent, I could see that. And I think you'd still deter them at 7 feet, 8 feet. Just because, you know, again, each case is judged on its own merits, and you certainly laid that out for us tonight. But I think we're kind of opening up a box here if we go with a 10-foot fence. Then everyone down the street, he's gonna want a 10-foot fence, he's gonna want a 10.
Yeah, but if it's in
You
the
know what I'm
back of your property,
but
what is
John,
it?
it's even worse than that, because as we know, the variance goes with the land. If that land ever gets sold, there's a 10-foot fence there that we can never take down. You know what I'm saying? So I'm very
good point.
hesitant to do this at all.
An
I'll do it
8
at
foot?
6. No, I'm only gonna do it at 6. I'm one board member, but I won't go above 6, not here. I'm sorry.
I don't
This
understand
opens
that you
up
couldn't
Pandora's
take it
box.
down? Once you put a fence up, you can't take it
Now,
down?
once you get a variance, it stays with that property.
So anybody could do 10 feet going forward. So if you ever decide to sell that lot, those next owners could put a 10-foot fence up there, and it sets a dangerous precedent. I want no part of that. I'm one board member, but I'm not gonna allow a 10-foot fence on a property. I'm not.
Well, I'm not trying to argue, but I'm just asking, why would a 10-foot fence be dangerous?
It's not dangerous, it's against code, there's a reason why codes exist. If we grant this 10-foot fence, it's ad infinitum, we can't withdraw it. And I'm not, again, I'm one board member, so there's 6 other board members here, but I'm not allowing a 10-foot fence here because it sets a dangerous precedent to me.
Just, Mike, just for clarification, if a house was built on that in the future, that doesn't apply, that 10-foot high fence, right? With a front yard?
If they get a variance,
Yeah.
it would.
No, the
It
variance
will.
goes with the land, John.
Variance is good
That's the
forever.
point.
Stay with it.
That's why I can't do, me personally, I can't do this.
And
I'll-
just talking through
I'll compromise
this,
at 6, I won't do 10.
just talking through this, I think you can still accomplish what you're trying to accomplish with a 6-foot fence. That's why, even like the case earlier tonight, she has a 6-foot fence. It protects from any predators or, neighbors with their kids and whatnot. Again, if there's a will, there's a way. Someone's gonna bust through the fence, whether it's 20 feet high or 6 feet high.
Right.
If they're gonna get through, they're gonna get through. I feel bad for you. You have, your hands full with a neighbor. That sounds horrible, but, that's a matter outside of this board. Our board is, I'll get to you in a second, ma'am. Our board is here for certain reasons and for variances solely. And we get your case. We understand it, that there's the reasons why. But in my opinion, a 6-foot fence will do the same thing as a 20-foot fence, as a 30-foot fence, right? It's going to be constructed of the same material and whatnot, so If they gotta get through and they're gonna get through, they're gonna do it, whether it's 20 feet or not. You know what I'm saying? So 6 feet, I think, is still the deciding factor. So, way I'm reading this board tonight, and I've been here a long time, I could see that they'll approve a 6-foot fence, but I doubt they're gonna go for a 10-footer. So let's poll, Claudine,
6 foot.
John, what,
Yeah, and I just want to, just for clarity, Joan, if I'm looking at 35 Munich Road, you're to the right. And I was up there, so I was, looking around. It's overgrown, right, with vegetation from the road, Munich Road, to look in, so it's hard to see anything.
Yeah.
It's
In-
woods, yeah.
So you have a stone hedge somewhere over there off your
Yeah, it's on
property.
it's on.
And your garden is past that stone hedge? I mean, that's where you do your planting, or is it
Yeah.
within there?
Yeah, it's behind the house.
It's behind your house? And then it's over the stone hedge going into that lot?
No, well, the stone wall is collapsed and it's moved
Okay.
aside, so it doesn't go all the way back.
All right.
now, I also can't understand why you wouldn't fence the back of your property if they're coming onto your property as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think a variance was required for that.
That's why.
Yes.
So you're just gonna keep going through?
If you go 6 feet, it's not required.
Correct.
Yes. All right, so you're planning on that.
Eventually, I just don't know what I can afford, so I'm just asking for
Well,
what
that's
I
fair,
think I
too.
can do here.
Well, actually, we're
my
saving you some
suggestion
money
would
by
be-
coming down to 6 feet, by the way, too, so.
My suggestion would be, because you're having the problems with the neighbor directly behind you, do the full fence behind you and the existing property, and maybe do half of this line coming up. Because if you build a house here eventually, or someone does, most likely that fence will be easier to reduce to 4 feet of what the code is requiring. If this is gonna be fenced off continually, you know what I'm saying?
But John, once we grant the variance, it's there.
Yeah,
Just
it's
so you
it.
know.
You can't-
No,
you
well, I
can't
get
change
it. That's what I'm saying. If
Yeah.
you lessen this line, you're still protecting the property to a certain extent.
Yeah, right. You're right.
And when you
But
guys
you're
do,
saying, I'm sorry, you're saying make it 4 feet as you approach the street?
No, I would say don't put this whole length of the property line fence in. I'd stop it halfway or 2/3, right?
2/3.
That allows you the cost to spend on your fence in the back of this lot and the back of your existing lot. Put the money that you're gonna spend towards that, a 6-foot fence. And then if
Shift
this
it
ever
over.
gets built or developed, the person or you or whoever does that won't have an issue with having to come back here, right? If the house,
You have to
it's
come
hard to
back.
explain, but if the house gets built, you mind if I draw on this? Right, something like that. This fence would have to stop at 6 feet and become 4 feet. So I'd recommend just stopping it right here. This is all overgrown anyway.
So when you get close to the road, it has to go to 4 feet?
Yes,
If
that's
there
the
is a
code.
house here eventually. So if you build it 6 feet now,
And that's for the purpose that if someone has a driveway, they need to see up and down, I'm assuming.
or
Okay.
There's
if
reasons
if
why.
emergency services is looking for you, you dial 911, and they're looking for you, you're in your front yard, they can't see you on the other side of a 6-foot fence, they may on a 4.
Well, I'm not talking about across the front, I'm talking about, he's talking about the side now.
Yes.
But the whole front is why they do that, though, the whole front yard. It's safety.
Yeah.
Now, what I would recommend, if you're gonna make this variance, condition it for the southerly and easterly property lines. Then it's only that L would be variance, so you don't have to worry about the whole thing becoming
yeah, that's true.
with the 6-foot fence on it.
So I would say
Oh,
half
yeah,
was north.
she's right.
So the west side, I would say just take half of that lot line, right, to a 6-foot fence.
It's 125 feet, half.
I would even let her
That's
go to
a half,
100.
125 feet?
I would even 100 setback from the road. I would go to that.
How much?
100 setback.
100,
So
so
it'd be
you come down to
150 from the back line.
150,
Yeah.
and then you could do the whole back with the extra 100, you'd be at 223, would take you to, I don't have her lot ending.
So just explain
We'll
to you
get it
again,
over.
we'll give it to you like to a certain point, right? This lot is all like overgrown anyway, whoever's gonna be, shouldn't be hanging out there, they won't be able to get through the thicket.
No, I want the privacy all the way up, if I could get it. That's what the variance is
All
for,
right,
that
so
whole
then
L
I
shape.
would say you make that just a 4-foot fence, transition at that point from 6 feet down to 4 feet. We're just protecting you down the road as well, if that.
Yeah, but
comes
I've gone down
to
to 10 to 6, now you're trying to get me to 4. Come on, it's like I'm dealing with my ex.
it. Look,
We're trying to work with you. This is an interesting situation for us, because again, we grant variances based upon the lot and the characteristics of the lot, And if we do this, this becomes a nightmare if we ever sell this lot for the town later on. Again, we're giving you a compromise. You don't have to take it and then take your chances with the 10-foot fence, and I can tell you how that's gonna end. I already see it. So we're trying to work with you here.
Okay.
That's
So
life
can I do a
safety.
6-foot in the L shape?
Provided, no, not for me, no. I'd say you'd have to put it 100 feet back
From the Munich road,
street.
Munich roadside.
from the.
Or it could be a 4-foot fence from the
Or
road back.
I'll let you take it 4 feet, 100 for the last 100 feet, or nothing. That's, again, I'm one board member, but that's the way I'm leaning.
And this way it's up.
So 100
And I don't know what other
feet.
board members are thinking, but that's the way I'll do it. That's the way I'll agree to it.
You have that, I
How does
can-
that fall in relation to the house next to the property? That
So I
100
was-
feet, does that go to her corner of her house?
No,
I was there, no, it doesn't go to her house.
it's all about yours.
No, I'm saying the view. Like,
Oh,
in other
the-
words, if I'm on that wooded lot and that fence comes down, will that block the view from her house into the wooded lot?
I didn't measure that off, but that
Yeah.
house is set back
Enough that
at
the
least 60,
fence,
65, 70 feet.
Again,
I didn't measure it, so I can't
I'm pulling it out to see
say,
if I can see it.
but I wasn't looking at that house.
yeah, I'm talking about lot 15, if anyone's looking at this.
Yep.
So that neighbor, you have a problem with that neighbor as well?
No, I just wanted to preserve the privacy from, well, that's where the culvert is too, yeah.
I'm just gonna explain to you what Julio's saying. You have a 250-foot.
Right.
Silvio, sorry.
Let me go like
Thinking
this.
Julio said.
I know who you thought. I know exactly who you
Julie and
thought.
Silvio together.
I know, also Tony.
So you have 250 feet, right?
Right.
So what Silvio is saying, you keep 100 feet back at 4 feet height. Then you'll have 150 feet of 6 feet height fence. And then all along the backside, 6 feet.
Okay.
All right? So it's fair to the neighbor on this side. It's fair to the neighbors who drive up and down this road. You know what I'm saying? And I think it will still get you the
Yeah.
protection that you need.
She wants
You
it,
know,
Okay.
yes.
It's not our
From
business,
the,
but you
point.
really,
Yes.
you'd have to set up a police case for yourself. You gotta protect
150.
yourself. The only way to do that is with cameras, witnesses, et cetera. So you'll definitely deter these people from doing what they're doing. All right, everybody good?
Yeah.
All right, anybody in the public wish to speak on this application? You have to come up, ma'am.
You
I
have
gotta
to
swear
come
you
up,
in.
and you gotta be sworn
Name and
in.
address,
Do I stay or do I go?
You can
sit?
stay.
No, you can sit down, just so there's no conflict.
whatever you wanna do.
Hi, my name is Mickey De
What's your address,
Cataldo.
please?
41, well, my mom lives on 41 Munich Road.
What's your address?
What's your address?
My address is 105 Bambrock Road.
In Mahopac?
No, in Eastchester, Scarsdale, Down
Okay.
County.
Raise
So-
your right hand.
Right?
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I just came because I saw the huge sign of appeal, that there was a court, and my mom's house is 41 Munich Road, which is right next to that
To the
empty
left
lot.
or to the right?
left.
Okay.
The
So where the
red.
fence is gonna eventually go?
Correct, where you said the 6 foot and the 4 foot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yes.
I just wanted to.
You're to the left of that property.
Correct, the house that stepped back
Yep.
with
Yes.
the
Yep.
fruit trees in the front and.
Yeah, I was looking at it
The one with
today.
the culvert that,
wanna come
Yeah,
up
the
and I'll
one-
show you?
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
stone like riprap in the corner there.
Just grab the microphone so that we could hear, you said recording it. You can take it off of there.
That's
You can take it off.
41,
Just pull it straight out. There you go.
the Rays Ranch.
All right, so this is the empty lot, your mom's house is here.
Correct.
somewhere. Exactly,
Yes.
we don't know. In fairness to your mom, we're making this fence stay down 4 feet, which is allowed by code.
That's fine.
Typically, to the front of the house, right? That's why I drew this house on there, assuming down the road there would be one. So 100 feet is roughly right here.
That's
It doesn't
fine.
affect your mom, her view. She'd be allowed to anyway if there was a house there. You understand what I'm saying? At 4 feet.
No, that's fine.
Then 6
I'm-
feet from
is
that point
from-
over.
Yep, that's.
If anything, it's actually giving your mom a little more privacy as well.
That's fine. I just didn't want it to be 10 feet. That's all I wanted to
You can
make
rest
sure.
assured, I think that that's not going to happen.
And then there was a covert, what did she say? There was a.
I don't know where exactly
There's a
it is.
drain, looks like it's on the road. Is that what we were talking about with
I have a
6-inch big gray rock?
Yeah, it's right here. I have-
Yeah, looks like it's going into a drain right into
And that's
the
at the front
road
of the
there.
property?
So I think there's a drain
Is
into
that the
that.
drain you were talking to, Mrs. Zacher?
This is a picture of it, right here.
Sorry, my eyes are not.
Yeah, I have a picture of it, Johnny.
But the Carmel town built that. We didn't do.
Oh, so that's in the right of way then?
Oh, that's what's alleged.
It looks like it was
If Carmel did it, then it's in the right of way.
done the right way to capture water. but-
I mean, it's this is from the.
Was that on your property?
They're looking down.
Is this on your mom's property, or is this on your property?
Whose
I
property is
thought
it?
it was on our property, but I don't know, they just dug it.
Just speaking to the mic again,
Yeah.
please, sorry.
Ms. Zacher, she's showing this culvert that you said was built. Is that on your property, or is it on her mom's property?
These other neighbors just told me that the highway department put it in.
Yes, the highway department.
Yes,
did it.
that means
Putnam-
it's
a
sitting in the
Putnam
right of
County
way.
road, maybe, possibly.
He doesn't know.
You can take that back. Do you have any further
No, I just
question or
wanted to
comment?
make sure there wasn't a 10-foot fence.
Yeah,
Okay.
going.
that's fine.
That's all I need.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else wish to be heard on this application? Sir? Ma'am, just fill that sign-in sheet with your name, address, phone number. Just let her do that a second, hold on. Thank you. Sir, state your name and address for the record, please.
How you doing? Michael Cullen, C-U-L-L-E-N. I'm at 882 Union Valley Road, the property directly
Raise your right-
behind.
Okay, raise your hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do. I do, anyway.
Go ahead.
All right. I'm more worried, I don't care what size fence she puts up, I'm worried about where the fence goes. She has stated that the pole, she said, is a dividing pole in between. It's not a dividing pole. See, and there's only a straight line. There's a straight line of properties. It's a straight line, Union Valley Road in Munich. Straight line of property that runs through. She pulled out my poles while men were doing tree work on my property, had them stopped. We're not going to get into the whole cops thing and all that.
Yeah, we're
Problem
not
is,
gonna go there, that's
problem
right.
is, I'm not going to get into that. Also, I would not, someone had said, I heard somebody say that if a fence goes up, I'm not going to go and destroy it. Never been on a property, don't go near a house. That's under oath, all right?
Okay.
So whoever
Well,
said,
that's a-
there was a
that's a
little
s-
comment made that someone would vandalize the fence too.
That's a civil matter?
Yeah.
So
And
you
that-
No, no, it was
guys
coming
need
up
to
from the
draw the
board.
line.
I heard a
Okay,
comment from the
but
board. Someone had said that-
just
that-
understand me.
Okay.
That's a civil, whatever we
That's fine.
grant
That's right. I don't
is
care
going to
about-
be on the property line.
Okay.
Whatever that property line is defined by the deed and by the survey. That's it. If there's a
Okay.
dispute between you and her over that, that's in the
It'll go by-
courts.
it'll go by
That's
the
not
survey
here.
line.
I'm just getting you set, okay?
Okay, also in the back there are also, no one's gone to the back of the property there, I take it, because you can't get through it. It's well overgrown. There's 6 or 8 trees that were downed very recently that go across the back. I can't even go on our property if I tried. I mean, they're piled up, they dropped them right across. A lot of those branches came on
Who
my
dropped
property.
them? You did, or
No,
the neighbors?
That's not my property.
Okay.
She took them down from her actual residence property. I don't know the number of that.
Okay.
That's
The original.
inconsequential for here.
Well, I'm just saying that there's trees back there also that have to be taken away because of where the fence line would go. So that's.
All right, well, that's her cross to
That's her
bear.
problem. That's not, again, that's not the burden of this board. This board is
Okay, I just
only
want to
here.
make sure the fence will go according to there because.
It will be granted,
Wait,
if it
she
gets
pulled out
granted,
my poles and said that the property.
if it
goes
gets
this way.
granted, it'll be on her property,
Okay, that's what I want to make sure.
in her jurisdiction. It won't be on your property. And if it does, you call that man right there, and he'll settle it with police involvement if necessary, but.
Yeah, 'cause I already-
It'll become a civil matter, is what it's
It-
going to
it-
be.
right.
And then you're going to have to figure out where the property lines are, and it's,
But they've been done 3 times already.
but a
And
judge
she's
a
claimed
judge
it's
can
done as
handle
well.
this.
She's claimed that.
Right, so
Speaking to
this
the
not,
mic.
that's not for
Speaking
this,
to the mic.
that's not for this board, okay? I don't know how many more times I have to say this. It's not for this board. This board is only here to consider the fence. If the fence is put up and you think it's in the wrong spot, you take her to court. If you knock it down, she takes you to court. It's as simple as that. We're here to only determine if the fence goes up or not. That's it. Nothing else.
Did you ever hear the term, good fences make good neighbors? That's it.
I'm not, as long as it's not on my property.
All right, you got it.
Fair enough.
That's how all this started.
Yep.
Did you leave your name and address on the piece of paper and phone number, please? Anybody else wish to be heard on this application?
So I do have one question. For the fence, does it have to be a certain feet away from the back property line?
No, it can go
or
right on
can
the
be
property
right
line.
up to,
The back side of the fence would have to be not encumbering the property line.
Right, it has to be right on the property
but it
line.
can be right on the property line?
Correct.
It can be up to the property line.
Yep.
And she's not asking for variances for that, so it's.
No,
No,
she couldn't
just-
anyway.
just a height.
Yeah.
Because then it encroaches on his property. Then you can't do that.
State your name and address for the record.
Eugene Bassani, 878 Union Valley Road.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes, I do. One question is for Mike. When the contractors come to put the fence up, the footings up, do you come out to inspect that?
I do not.
Does anybody in the building department come up to inspect that?
We do not.
It's not structural in nature, it's,
No, I understand that, but the reason I'm asking is because if she, who claims that we put wood on her property, which I have a video that shows I didn't, but if she decides to take 2 feet of my property, which she's already claiming is hers, and it's not, then I would have to go to court. So why wouldn't it be done previously to that?
You could go to court before.
No. Why doesn't it get inspected as far as the property line goes before
I'm not
she gets footings in?
I'm not a surveyor.
That's not the purview of his role.
I don't know where your property lines are. They're not painted out in the field.
That's not his role.
You have them in your folder.
Okay.
he doesn't.
Then it has to be- I'm saying 225 feet from one side,
It's-
228 from the other
It doesn't
side.
work that way, sir.
Okay,
It doesn't work that way. You have to be a surveyor.
okay.
And a surveyor marks these lines. And
Okay.
at that point, that's when you go and you put your fence in. I am not a surveyor, never claimed to be, and
Okay.
I'm not able to do that.
You could hire a surveyor, she
No,
can
she's
hire.
already
sur-
hired 2 surveys
Okay,
that she.
but
and-
you can
and
hire a surveyor to
I don't
have
need
that
to spend the
determined.
money because she's already done it,
All right.
and we've proved her wrong. So
Then-
that's fine. I'm just asking.
Again, that's
Okay.
a civil
So if
matter.
she goes into my property, I have to go take it to court.
That's correct.
All right.
That's it.
But it's so hard to tell exactly where that line is in the field, I can't do it.
Anybody else wish to be heard on this application?
Hi,
State your name and address for the record.
Joanne Bassani, 878 Union Valley Road.
Raise your right hand. Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth,
Yes.
so help you God.
I do. But property lines, I mean, surveyors come and they tell you where your property line is, right? So why is that not a matter for this place?
Because we only grant the use of the land, not the borders of the land. That's a civil matter. So what she's asking for, the relief she's asking for from this board, is the height of the fence. That's it.
That's the only matter in front of us.
That's the only matter in front of us.
So
And putting a fence on a vacant piece of land.
And putting the fence on a vacant piece of land. That's it.
But, you know, what would be nice was if she would put, because I'm directly behind her, and I could see her house. She cut up beautiful trees that were there, and she made this horrible view from my house to her house, okay? We all
She has
have-
every right to do with that on the
That's
property.
fine, but her problem is she's delusional where her property starts, line. She had it surveyed twice, and she's still not satisfied with that. She's saying that it's, like, she doesn't understand the property lines. She literally starts from the one property line and is continuing into my property. She
So
doesn't
you're saying
see.
she's going like beyond
Yeah,
what the was
diagonally.
staked out?
Yes. Our properties are more or less very rectangular, okay? So she starts from this corner and she's like going in my property.
Sounds like.
So I have no say in that?
Sounds like you need to hire a surveyor to stake
Yeah.
it out.
Right.
Stake out the
Yeah.
entire
For your own
property.
property.
she had it done twice
No,
and
for
they
your own
did.
property.
For your own purposes, your own needs, your own
What
desires.
are these blueprints in my folder? So they're not true, my property lines? When
They
I
would have
first
to
bought the
stake it
house,
out.
we had our house surveyed, and those were my markers.
They are your markers.
Yeah, okay.
We're not
So-
saying that your markers are
So
wrong.
if she's putting a fence, Mike,
That's
in
why
my
it's a
yard.
civil matter for a judge to,
Correct.
to determine
But if this
if
is
who's
town
right.
court, if this is town hall, you mean to tell me my property dimensions mean nothing here?
Of course they did.
So then,
But that's not
I'm not
the
a surveyor to
purview
know
of
where
this
that line
board.
is.
That's what we're trying to impress on all of you in here. This board is only
Zoning
allowed
Board of
to
Appeals.
say how high the fence could be. That's it.
but
Nothing else.
Nothing to do with property lines.
No, because there's no setback on a fence.
So so she could just encroach on my property line?
No, you take her to court then, or you
Civil.
survey your property.
So
We
I
keep
have to.
telling you this.
Okay, I could get my property surveyed, but it's still not gonna be good enough for her. She did it twice
Yeah, but then
herself.
you'll
Then
have
see you in
something,
court.
if you did have to go to court, you would literally,
You
you would
have to
have
go to
it
court.
staked out, and you would have, because it basically, the meets and bounds within your deed gets measured. That's kind of how it all goes. Just because I'm not saying that your property is wrong to
Mike,
you,
is
but
this
it
a
could be.
subdivision,
You
a
might think
filed
yours stops
subdivision?
But I've
somewhere.
been
It's
in
very hard.
peace,
It's a gray
I've been in
area.
peace for 23 years, and all of a sudden, like, she
understand
thinks that this land that's mine is her land? Come on.
Surveys are really the only way getting.
Right.
It's the only real
But,
recommendation from me
but
is
you
to get
just
your
said
own
it,
survey.
survey. She had her property surveyed twice because she was unsatisfied with
Right,
it.
so you could do your own and see where that
So
comes
do your
to.
own.
Okay.
And you don't have to
And
do a
then-
full
and then
survey
you
of your
have-
property.
No, I understand I have to do.
You could just do
so-
the back line if you're worried about the cost. You can do the back
Do the
line
back line.
and, the back corners of your property.
No, I understand, but I think it's that a person that spent money to have it done twice is still not satisfied with it.
That's not our
Again, that's
issue.
not part of this.
But you know what, this is, and so our property dimensions in in your folders, what do they mean here then? They mean nothing at all?
They mean a lot. They mean.
By a
if-
licensed
So they mean
surveyor.
a lot.
So
but-
if you want to build an addition on your house, you come in and you say, I want to build an addition. I go, okay, where are you building it? You show me where. I measure from the property line on a piece of paper to the addition, and then we say what your setback is.
But, okay, so then they mean something. So her putting up a fence and encroaching on my property line means nothing to you?
There's
If I
no-
come to you and I say, Mike, she's putting up a fence, but she's coming like 10 feet on my property.
Show me that in writing, and we'll direct you.
Okay.
You got to
Fair
show me in
enough,
writing,
fair
though.
enough.
That's a surveyor, and I'm not a surveyor, and I can't swear to those lines, is the
And
problem.
it has to be a surveyor, it can't be you saying it.
A licensed
It has to be a
surveyor.
That's fine.
licensed surveyor.
Correct,
Mike, give me a number of one
Hang
and
on one second.
I'll do it.
correct.
Okay?
Guys, that's on you.
Enough,
It's on you.
enough.
I'm sorry.
This is a civil matter between the both parties.
And you know what? Let me just say, she's lied on the oath, okay?
There's no oath to lie under
Okay.
about it.
Have a good night. Anybody else wish to be heard on this application? Sir? State your name and address for the record, please.
John Dignam, 15 Munich Road.
Yeah, thank you.
John Dignam, 15 Munich Road.
Swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do. Just want to state I have no objection to what you guys have described tonight here as far as a 6-foot fence along the back property and 6 foot along the side until you get to some reasonable distance from the road where it would drop to
100
4
feet.
foot.
Thank you.
That's all.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Which is, again, the only thing we're discussing tonight. That's the only thing we're discussing tonight.
All right, anybody else wish to be heard on this application? Okay, we're going to look for a motion to close the public hearing on this
So
Tuesday.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, at this point, there's no input on any application whatsoever. Please refrain your comments, et cetera. All right, application number 1 was held over. Number 2 was dismissed without prejudice. Application number 3, Tasha Coleman. I'll look for a motion.
Motion to grant.
Do I have
Second?
a second? Any discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Number 4, DNI Properties, interpretation. Do I have an interpretation, Rose?
Yes, please.
So, going to do.
Greg will help, right, Greg?
Up to 3 vehicles.
We said 2, he
Sorry,
said 2.
up to 2 vehicles in the, what's the zone?
HMC?
The HMC zone, C zone,
Is that what it is now?
HMC. is a permitted use in connection with a retail.
Auto sales establishment.
Provided as per the applicant's direction that 2 cars max on the,
That's the front end of it. Up
That's
to-
the front end, I'll put it on the.
Up to.
on the
or
front
no more
end
than
of the
2.
property,
It's not a condition, it's saying,
as provided.
yep.
I move to accept the interpretation based on that parking will not exceed up to 2 spots in the front parking lot in that zone in conjunction with car sales.
In the HZ.
In the HMC.
Hamlet,
Mike Carnazzo.
Mike Carnazzo.
Mixed use commercial.
mixed use.
Is that good
There you
enough,
go.
Greg? Do you want to add
HMC
anything to
zone.
it? In the
Greg, is that
HMC
good?
zone.
I think we got it.
All right, do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Adjust that.
Number 5, Hollywood, looking for a motion.
Motion to grant as amended to a 5-foot variance.
Do I have
For
a
the
second?
side yard.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Oh,
You're
okay.
against?
Let's
I'll do roll
let's
call.
do roll call. Will, you for the motion? or- Julie?
4.
No.
Against?
Against?
For the motion.
4.
And I'm for the motion, so it carries. All right, number 6, Joan Acker, do I have a motion?
Okay. We need a motion first for allowing the,
Discussion. I'll make it, you say you can make a motion for discussion purposes.
motion for discussion purposes on both the accessory on the vacant lot as well as the height of the fence.
Second.
Second, okay.
Yeah.
Discussion.
And then I'll amend my motion at the end. Good night, Joel.
Good night.
So I think we've had that conversation. I think we've agreed to what we want to do here. So 6 foot along the back, 6 foot, so I want to say
Along
it
the
correctly.
west
I want to
side.
say it right. So
East side,
6 foot,
east side.
6 foot along the, no, I want to get it right. South, and then 6 foot along the easterly from the backyard for 150 feet, and then 4 feet from 150 feet to the road.
100 feet.
To 100 feet, 100 feet,
250,
yeah,
yeah,
100, sorry, thank you. That's what I think makes the most sense here, to the front property line, thank you. So let
Yep.
me amend the motion again. So, the motion is for a 6-foot variance on a lot,
Vacant lot.
on a
With an
vacant lot,
accessory.
on the
Does it even
south
require a
part of
variance?
the property, a 6-foot variance from the rear property line on the eastern side for 150 feet, and then a 4-foot fence from that point to the front property line.
All right, do I have a second on
I
that?
see Greg
Second.
scratching his head, am I okay?
Yeah, you said it right?
Yeah, okay.
John, you second it?
I did.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All right, minutes from May 22nd, 2025.
Rose, do we have to kick them because of what you found, or she
No,
fixed it?
she fixed it.
Fixed it.
It
Okay.
it wound
I'm-
up that, I think the person said that they were 14, they were adjacent to number 14, they're actually 16.
All right, do we have a motion for the minutes as amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Happy 4th of July and
Motion to
happy
adjourn.
summer. Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting? Do I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion to adjourn the meeting.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.
Good night.